Hey, what's going on, everybody? Samuel Akem here, and I'm back with another Akem'S analysis. I appreciate you guys for tapping into yet another one of my videos. I got a great show for you guys today. Got a lot of really good topics that I want to talk about. Got some news about a Grizz player who's dealing with an injury that may have affected their pro day. I'm going to give my thoughts quickly about that. Got an NCAA settlement where may give guys extra years, more than 5 years of eligibility to play college sports. So definitely want to get into that. A Prairie View A&M coach posted some of his requirements for getting recruited by him. I want to give my thoughts about that. South Dakota had some pretty big transfers this last week, so I want to talk about that. Tommy Mellott had some high praise from draft analyst Todd McShay, so I'm going to give my thoughts about that. There were new rules given on injury timeouts and things of that nature, so some good things there. Idaho got a pretty decent commit from Fresno State. We're going to give our thoughts about that, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the House settlement and how it's changing things for colleges. So make sure you guys leave a like, make sure you guys leave a comment, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, make sure you guys give me your thoughts about the video once you guys get all the way through. But remember, 80% of you guys who are watching my channel, 78% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel, so make sure you guys hit that subscription button right now. But we will get straight into it. Okay, first things first. It is Sunday morning, April 20th, and this morning I saw a Facebook post from Aaron Fonts. He was post-surgery. I'm not going to post any pictures or anything like that, but signs tell me that he just had Liz Frank surgery. Now, that is an unconfirmed report. I have not talked to Aaron Fonts or anybody in the Fonts camp, but the reason I say that with so much certainty is because I had the exact same surgery. So I've seen those x-rays, I've seen that foot boot, the exact color boot, the exact same boot, probably not the same size as me, but the exact same boot, and I also saw that scar. So he posted a picture. One, he's got his scar on the top of his foot with a couple of stitches in there, and then he posted the x-ray showing the hardware, the exact same hardware that I had in my foot, so I could show you that. But it seems as though, I don't know exactly when this took place, but Aaron Fonts had foot surgery. Now, the reason I am saying this is because I was somebody who I felt was a little harsh on my judgment of his pro day, giving my thoughts on his numbers. And like I said, I don't know exactly when this surgery happened. I don't know if it was prior to pro day and he still decided to do pro day despite that, or if this took place during pro day. That's the reason for his his less than stellar performance at pro day, and then he had surgery after pro day. I don't know exactly when it took place, but Aaron Fonts had Liz Frank surgery. So if some of you guys were looking at his pro day numbers and wondering, oh man, I wonder what's going on, I wonder what's wrong with him. Aaron Fonts is somebody who a lot of people thought was fast, explosive, and his numbers didn't necessarily say that. Well, it seems that we might have an answer for that. Aaron Fonts had Liz Frank surgery. So what is the Liz Frank? The Liz Frank is a ligament. Now, if there's any doctors watching the channel, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not perfect. This is just how it was explained to me when I did it. But the Liz Frank, say this is your foot. This is your big toe right here. There's a ligament connecting your big toe and the rest of your foot. So the rest of these toes this way, this ligament right where I think it's just like a plate. I don't know exactly. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, but there's a ligament in here. Say this is your big toe. This is your second toe. There's a ligament right here that, you know, kind of connects a plate underneath those toes, or there's some connection piece, but it's very small, it's very minute, and, you know, you can only feel it when you've tore the Liz Frank, or if you have a sprained Liz Frank, or if you have an injury in there. Well, I tore it, so that plate was basically like splitting into two. Every time I took a step, I could feel it, and it just hinders your movement, explosion. It's really, really important to the core of your foot. I remember Dr. Teleria walked in when I had my x-rays back in 2019, and she said I was off by 3 millimeters or 2 millimeters. It was tiny, and it's so crazy because you can be off by that much and you can't even walk. You can't even explode off the line. You can't even do any of that. So my thoughts and prayers are with Aaron Fonts. Like I said, I felt like I needed to give this update because I was somebody who was pretty blunt about his pro day numbers and pretty blunt about what that meant. So well wishes to him. I hope he gets better soon. I hope that he's able to heal up very, very fast. But everybody give your thoughts and players for Aaron Fonts, a Big Sky player, a Montana player who unfortunately had surgery and is dealing with the consequences of that. So you guys leave me your thoughts on that below, and I will move on. All right. I want to talk about Tommy Mellott. I want to talk about Todd McShay. Todd McShay said this last week of Tommy Mellott. Talked to multiple teams recently that have mentioned Mellott as a potential Julian Edelman type conversion project. Expect to hear his name called in the 6th or 7th round. Now that is very high praise for Tommy Mellott. I think that is, confirmation that what we all saw Tommy Mellott do at his pro day a couple of weeks ago was good enough to get him drafted. I think now this is confirmation Todd McShay giving him that, hey, a lot of scouts are viewing him like a Julian Edelman type. A lot of scouts see the explosion. A lot of scouts see the speed. A lot of scouts see the athleticism. They've probably turned on the film. You see that he had multiple 40-plus, 30-plus, 50-plus yard touchdown runs of big length, where he's running past the whole team. I mean, that shows that he has the athleticism to do it. Now you're saying he could get drafted in the 6th or 7th round. Phenomenal. I mean, this is phenomenal. Todd McShay, obviously a veteran draft analyst for ESPN. He does a great job covering the sport. I don't actually know if Todd McShay is ESPN. He might be Good Morning, or not Good Morning Football, but he might be NFL Network. I can't remember exactly what outlet I'm pretty sure Todd McShay is ESPN. But Julian Edelman type, obviously, there was a lot of news that a reporter named Grace, who covers the Bobcats up in Bozeman, talked about how Tommy Mellott was discussing after pro day how Julian Edelman was somebody he looked up to growing up. So to have his name kind of be in the same circle as Julian Edelman is pretty special, man. Athletic quarterbacks want to play in the NFL, don't necessarily have the tools to play quarterback at the NFL level, but have the athletic ability to play in the NFL. So we will see how this turns out for Tommy Mellott. Obviously, he has the athleticism. What team is willing to give him an opportunity? Obviously, it's been reported he had a private workout with, I believe, the Cowboys. He also had a visit with somebody. I think it might have been the Bengals, but then he's had another private workout with another team. So there's teams that are interested. There's teams that are giving him a shot. There's teams that want to see him work out for them in front of their coaches, in front of their scouts, and put him through some specific drills to see what he can do. But this is very, very exciting. This is very, very exciting for Tommy Mellott, the Mellott family, the Bobcat, everybody at the Montana State University. This is very exciting. So congrats to Tommy Mellott. Obviously, this doesn't mean anything. Even you getting drafted doesn't mean anything. It only means something what you do in camp. You got to prove yourself. But getting on a team, getting an opportunity is the first step. So, I mean, this is huge. And obviously, the draft is this week. So we will see who is willing to give Tommy Mellott an opportunity. Who's going to draft Tommy Mellott? I am excited to see that. I know a lot of Bobcat fans are excited to see that. I know people in the state of Montana are excited to see that. So you guys let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below. Do you guys think this is significant? Or do you guys think this is just, Todd McShay may be speaking, but has he done his research? I don't know. I think this is pretty solid. I think this is exciting, and I think this shows signs that Tommy Mellott is looking to be drafted. I mean, Todd McShay wouldn't be saying this unless he had been talking to scouts, had been talking to GMs and executives that are hearing and have Tommy Mellott on their board in the 6th or 7th round. Now, obviously, things get shaken up. A few players in the first round get taken that weren't expected. A few second rounders get taken that weren't expected. A few third and fourth rounders get taken that weren't expected to go in those rounds. That then changes things in the 6th and 7th round. But, I mean, 6th or 7th round pick for Tommy Mellott, as athletic, as fast as he is, sounds exactly right with what he's done in college. So you guys let me know what you think about that down below, and I will move on. Okay, Idaho picked up a new commitment this weekend. Coach Ford at Idaho has been doing work in the portal. Joshua Wood, former Fresno State quarterback, has committed to Idaho. That is also around the same time that former Idaho QB Giovanni McCoy jumped back into the portal. He just transferred to Texas State after leaving Oregon State after, I think he started like half the season, and he transferred to Texas State from Oregon State. Now he's leaving Texas State during this spring transfer portal window, and he's back in the portal. A lot of people mentioned online that they thought he might have gone to Incarnate Word. Why am I meshing Joshua Wood with Giovanni McCoy? I just thought it made sense. I just thought the one quarterback is transferring to Idaho. One former Idaho quarterback is leaving another FBS school. But Fresno State quarterback Joshua Wood, what did he do at Fresno State last year? I believe he is a sophomore this year, or he's going to be a sophomore. Either he's a sophomore right now, going to be a junior next year, or he's a sophomore currently. I couldn't exactly tell, but he's only had one season of stats at Fresno State. He only has one season of stats on ESPN. So either he went JUCO, either he went prep school, or he was straight at Fresno State, but he says he's a sophomore. So either he had a freshman year, had a redshirt freshman year. I'm not exactly sure what year this guy is. I believe he's a sophomore. 2024 stats. He only played in he played cleanup time in a few games, but he only started in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl versus Northern Illinois. He was 16 for 23, 180 yards, 69 69% completion percentage, almost 70% completion percentage, 69.6. 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He had 11 carries, 32 yards, and a touchdown. So 2 total touchdowns, just about 212 total yards, 70% completion percentage, over 50% complete, or I guess 70. I'm dumb sometimes. But Joshua Wood, obviously, one game worth of stats. He's an FBS drop down, so you're hoping that he can bring some spark to your team. He seems to be a runner and a passer. Obviously, 32 rushing yards, isn't anything crazy. I'd have to turn on the film to really see what he's able to do. But, I mean, this is exciting for Idaho. Idaho's been gutted, from the portal this past year. I can't remember if they still have Jack Lane there. I think Jack Lane is still there. I think the third string quarterback, they had a couple of Jacks that started. I think they're both still there. But I do know that they lost 2 receivers. I believe they lost some defensive players as well. So Idaho's obviously looking to retool. All Big Sky teams are looking to retool. But it'll be interesting to see how Joshua Wood is able to play with some of the things that they got going on at Idaho. Actually, let me look up Idaho's football roster and see who they have at quarterback. Because I believe Jack Lane, I don't remember Jack Lane leaving, but I could be wrong. Yeah, so Jack Lane actually isn't on the roster. He was number 2. But they did add Lanyata Alexander. Let's go by position. They're doing it by jersey. Let's go by position. And actually, I can just share this. Actually, let me do this. So let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go there. I'm going to go here. Okay. So looking at the Idaho roster, I got it by position. Let's find the quarterbacks on here. Quarterback. Okay. They have Holden B., redshirt freshman. They have Nick Yosefek. That's who I was thinking. One of the quarterbacks I was thinking of. Redshirt sophomore. Jack Wagner is still there. So I'm sure he's probably the assumed starter going into camp. Rocco Koch, redshirt freshman. And that seems to be the quarterback room. So adding Joshua Nelson in that room, I would think Joshua Nelson would probably walk in being the second or third string. Or if he's the assumed starter, walking into summer. But that's the other thing about this spring transfer portal window is all of these quarterbacks were here for spring ball. All of these quarterbacks were there to be able to get the offense, build a relationship with those new receivers. One of those receivers being Lanyata Alexander, who just joined the squad. But I mean, how are you gonna get meshed into the team is the big question mark. So if you ask me, I would think Jack Wagner would be the assumed starter. Nick Yosefek, I mean, neither of them necessarily played great ball. Jack Wagner played more. He ended up getting hurt. Nick Yosefek came in. But, I think they all probably got an opportunity during spring ball. And I obviously don't know anything about Holden B. and Rocco Koch. But I would assume Joshua Nelson, given that he has playing experience at the FBS level, may get a leg up. But we will see. We will certainly see. But I think it's exciting. I think Joshua Wood coming to Idaho is very exciting news. I think he brings a level of, newness to the offense, to the Idaho offense. And I think it's exciting news. So you guys let me know what you think about Joshua Wood. But I did want to finish my thoughts on Giovanni McCoy. I think this is a cautionary tale to a lot of those guys who play really, really well at the FCS level. And I know I talk about it almost weekly, almost monthly. Guys, please be wary of leaving your school at the FCS level to go to the FBS level for potential money, for potential opportunities. I understand if you got an agent, if you're talking to scouts, these are the ones telling you guys, hey, you're going to have to move up. You're going to have to go to this next level because they're not getting paid unless you're signing contracts, but also they know what the NFL scouts are saying. And I get what the NFL scouts are saying, but an NFL scout can tell you, we're not going to respect your FCS film as much as we respect your FBS film. But what they're going to even tell you more is, we're not even going to give you a look if you go to the FBS and don't play. So just keep that in mind. Sure, they're going to tell you if you leave your FCS school and go to the FBS, you'll be in better regard for us from a scouting perspective. Your film will look better. If you blow up, if you have a good season, that'll be better for you in your draft stock. But what they don't tell you is, what if you transfer to an FBS school and don't play? You are not going to I'm not going to say you're not going to go to the NFL, because it could happen. But if you completely just get phased out at the FBS level, the chances of you going to the NFL are even less than the chances were at you at the FCS school. Because imagine this, say you go to the FBS and you don't play. you don't get drafted. You'll be looking back thinking, damn, I should have stayed at the FCS. But imagine you stay at the FCS. You play. You ball out. You get drafted in the 7th round, or you go UDFA. But you are in the NFL. You'll much better like that outcome than you would have at going the FBS level, maybe having to transfer again, not having the same success. One in the hand is better than two in the bush. A bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. An opportunity in hand is better than two that you're hoping come up later on down the road. Having a spot for me at the University of at the University of Montana, having a number, having a roster spot, being able to know that I would have an ability to start, be able to play good minutes at the University of Montana meant a little more to me than chancing my name in the portal, especially coming off an injury where teams may not want me. I don't know how bad they want me. They can tell how bad they want me over the phone, but once I get there, things could change up. And that was ultimately what led to the decision for me. Now, I know a lot of these guys, NIL wasn't in full swing when I was a senior, so that wasn't so much in the decision process for me, but I could understand how that could change things. But it's just so crazy. Javani Wood jumped back in the portal. I didn't even put this on there, but Mark Hamper from Idaho left Idaho, went to Wisconsin, went to spring ball with Wisconsin, is now back in the portal. And Mark Hamper had just under 1,000 yards, had 960 receiving yards, had a ton of touchdowns, was a freshman All-American. Had all the superlatives. Do you think him going to Wisconsin and transferring is better off for him than staying at Idaho and having another killer season? There's nobody in the world that's going to tell me Mark Hamper transferring and now not having a school to play at. Now, I think he's going to get picked up. I think he's good enough to where somebody at the FCS or even low FBS level needs to have him on their team. But is he in a better position now than he was in December when the season ended? Absolutely not. And there's nobody that's going to convince me of that. So, these guys just need to, I don't know. Obviously, I'm talking this way and thinking this way, obviously, because you see how much the FCS gets affected by the transfer portal. You see how much these coaches are having a hard time retaining their rosters. And sure, coaches have done it all the time. Players are now doing it all the time. And you can say, sure, go chase that money. But from my standpoint, it's not even about chasing the money. It's not even about getting a better opportunity for me. It's like you see so many, and Sam Herder posts the numbers every year. Sam Herder posts the FCS to FBS transfer numbers every year. Please go tap into what he's doing and what his coverage of this transfer portal is. But half of you guys aren't even returning to the same level of play. Half of you guys aren't even getting the same amount of snaps. Half of you guys, the numbers are staggering. And so I think you really need to think hard and long about it before you transfer to an FBS school. Think, is this going to be better off for me? Because a lot of times it is not better off for the players. So just a cautionary tale. Joshua Wood committed to Idaho. Very exciting news. Former Idaho quarterback Javani McCoy transferred from Texas State, is now back in the portal. Is that somewhere where maybe a Montana can go get him? Maybe a Montana State gets him? Maybe a Big Sky? Maybe he sneaks back into the Big Sky? Because I think he's ultimately an FCS quarterback. I think that's kind of what the Texas State and Oregon State transfer tells you, is that this is an FCS quarterback. Where does he fit in? I've heard a lot of people talk about Incarnate Word. I don't know. You guys let me know what you guys think about what are your thoughts on that are down below, and I will move on. Okay, 4 more players join a suit to completely dismantle NCAA eligibility rules. So there's a lawsuit on the table levied against the NCAA right now that is alleging that players should get more than 4 years of eligibility. Now, let me say first off right now, I 100% disagree with this. I do not think this is the right way to go. I do not think this is the right thing to do. I think, quite frankly, I think this is a little bit soft. I'm somebody who dealt with injuries in college. I'm somebody who had an injury the last game of my college career, broke my collarbone. I'm also somebody who dealt with an injury during what I would call the best season of my career in 2019. 2 injuries that probably hurt my draft stock, probably hurt my ability to play in the NFL. And you didn't hear me crying to the NCAA saying, oh, it's not fair. I deserve more years. 5 years isn't enough for me to get in the NFL. I didn't have enough time, even though most of these guys have played 40, 50, 30, 40, 50 games in college. Like, you've had enough time to prove that you are a professional player, and you getting more time just isn't the way things are supposed to be. First, it was Diego Pavia. Now I'm reading from this article. that I found. First, it was Diego Pavia, 5 seasons removed from high school, suing for an extra year and potentially 2 at Vanderbilt. Pavia did so under the argument that the National Junior College Athletic Association is a separate organization from the NCAA, and so his 2 years at New Mexico Military Institute shouldn't count towards his year of eligibility. The court agreed. Next, it was Nazir Forgurian. The Wisconsin cornerback began his career playing 2 seasons at Grand Valley State, and in January he sued, arguing Division II seasons should not count towards FBS eligibility. The court agreed. In short, the suits argue that plaintiffs are unlikely to be drafted but could stand to make money if they return to school in 2025. So basically, Basically, these guys are arguing that, hey, we're not going to make it to the NFL. We are unlikely to be drafted, and we're unlikely to be drafted, but we are likely to make more money at college given what the college landscape is. So we deserve more time to be able to cash in and make that money at the college level. I mean, this is absolutely crazy. Jones made $100,000 last year and could earn $500,000. So they're talking about one of the players in the suit. I didn't put all the quotes on here, but Jones made $100,000 last year and could earn $500,000 if he returns. That's one of the players in this suit that wants to return back to college for more eligibility. If he returns, while the other 3 have $150,000 offers if eligible, the suit said. So basically, this player made $100,000 last year, has the opportunity to make $500,000 if he's able to return for another year of college, and they're alleging that is why I deserve to be able to return to college, because you are basically taking food off my plate, money and food that I am going to make. You're taking it off my table if you don't allow me to return. I don't know. Taking aim at the 5 years to play for rule, the suits that due to injuries and unfortunate circumstances, they were otherwise not afforded the opportunity to reach. The suit states that due to injuries and unfortunate circumstances, they were otherwise not afforded the opportunity to reach their full potential in their college football careers up to this point. How? I don't have the direct quotes in front of me, but it was saying that some of these guys have played 30, 40 games in college, and how were they? So let me get this straight. The suits argue that plaintiffs are unlikely to be drafted but could stand to make money if they return to school in 2025. But also the suit states that due to injuries and unfortunate circumstances, it's in quotes in the article, they were otherwise not afforded the opportunity to reach their full potential in their college football careers up to this point. How? If you played 30 to 40 games in college, that is a full career in college football. Minor injuries here and there, I understand that, but still, if you've played that amount of games, there is no way that you haven't had the opportunity to prove and reach your full. And also, when was college the place where you were ever supposed to reach your full potential? I don't remember college being the place where you were supposed to reach your full potential. Now, college is the place where you're supposed to maximize your potential and show that you can play at the next level. But if you can't show that in 4 to 5 years, you just might not be good enough, brother. You just might not be good enough. And that is okay. But the fact that some of these, what the NCAA means nothing anymore. Eligibility means nothing anymore. This goes in line a little bit with an article that I'm going to talk about a little bit later in the video. But basically, we are moving towards a dangerous landscape where there is going to be unlimited eligibility in college sports. There is going to be an unlimited amount of years where you can play college. And it's not even going to be college sports anymore. It's going to be semi-pro football. It's not going to be in the NCAA. The NCAA is going to manage all the rest of the sports in college. And football is going to be its own entity. And it's going to be semi-pro football. And guys are going to be able to stay for as long as they want, make as much money as long as they want. It's not going to be attached to a college education anymore. It's not going to be anything. It's just going to be semi-pro football. It's going to replace the UFL. So all those guys in the UFL are now going to play college again. I don't know, man. And I don't even know if I would call it semi-pro because I'm somebody who says the UFL is professional football. A lot of people call it semi-pro, whatever you want to call it. But, it's just kind of crazy, man. It's kind of crazy that this is the landscape we live in and this is the world that we're living in. And honestly, college might be semi-pro because then UFL, you are going to the professionals if you're playing UFL. But how is that going to work? You're going to go finally play professional at the UFL and make less than you're making in college? I mean, I don't know. This stuff is so crazy. Guys getting more eligibility. I halfway understand the JUCO rule because JUCO is different. JUCO is a different association. There are completely different rules at the JUCO level, not football rules, but in terms of rules, how it's governed. The NCAA is different. The NJCAA is different. I get that. But for somebody to go play at D2 and argue that they should get more years of eligibility because you played D2, it's soft, man. And I think this is just furthering the soft generation that we are living in right now, man. Like, you don't get everything you want and you have to work for it. And this is like this is like rewarding somebody for not like, you didn't get it done, brother, which is okay. But now to reel it back and give you more eligibility and say, oh, well, you didn't get it done in this timeline, that all these other players before you got it done in that same timeline. You didn't get it done in that timeline. So instead of doing that, just sue the NCAA. They'll give you more time and you can have another opportunity to get it done. Now, obviously, I don't know all these guys' stories. I don't know the injuries they've dealt with. I don't know what they've gone through. I 100% do not understand, some of the struggles some of these guys have faced. So from that standpoint, I get it. But also, like, bruh, what are we doing here? This is crazy. And I'm not even, like, I don't know. I feel like some people might jump in the comments and say, oh, you're just mad because you didn't get extra years. No, I'm not. When I was done with college, I was done with college. I had to deal with COVID. Like, college was a long time. I felt like I was in college forever. I was ready to be done with college. I was ready to move on to something else. But now, I mean, these guys are already making good money, man. Like, also, that's another thing. You have a player who made $100,000 last year. What player 10 to 15 years ago ever made $100,000 on record? And now you have a potential, and I get it. They have a potential to make $500,000, and for sure, if it's like, in the real world, if this player made $100,000 and now is going to make $500,000, in the real world, they would go make that. But like, college athletics, right? College football right now is not the real world. It's not operating like the real world operates, and it's just outlandish, some of the things that are going on in college football. So I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about that. I know I was kind of all over the place with that and mostly a lot of my thoughts, but I mean, this stuff is really happening. These are lawsuits that are really taking place, and these are things that could have really major ramifications for college football. And I don't think I think people are giving it its just due, but I think it's a little bigger than people want to give it credit to. So you guys let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below, and I will move on. Okay. Well, I want to talk a little bit about South Dakota's football team. They were completely gutted last week. They had 3 linemen enter the spring transfer portal window. They also had one of their top returning receivers enter the winter transfer portal window. Karan Adams was the receiver that entered the transfer portal. And then they had 3 other starting linemen. And this is a team in South Dakota that was, I think, going to be the best team in the MVFC returning this year. North Dakota State lost a ton. South Dakota State got gutted, but they seem to be retooling a little bit. But, I mean, man, South Dakota, they lost their head coach. I believe their head coach retired this offseason. And then I felt like a lot of players wanted to tough it out and wanted to see, okay, let's see this offseason. Let's see what we see. They took Karan Adams' page off South Dakota. They took his name off South Dakota's page. But I feel like there was a lot of guys that were probably on that team that were like, this can't be right. What? Yo. Okay, I'll tell you what I was just looking at in a second, but I feel like a lot of guys on that South Dakota roster looked at their coach leaving and were like, all right, let's give it the spring. Let's see how it turns out this spring. If we don't like what's happening this spring, we are out of here. They stayed for the spring. They didn't like what was happening for the spring, and they left. 3 starting linemen gone, a starting receiver gone. Listen to this. I'm not even going to have you listen to it. I'm going to show it. So I looked up Karan Adams' stats. 18 receptions, 543 yards, 5 touchdowns. 30 yards a reception. I looked at the game stats just to make sure. 2 for 133, 67 yards. No. 66 yards a reception. Are you kidding me? 1 for 61, 3 for 83, 1 for 48, 1 for 71, 3 for 49. I mean, what are we talking about? This dude is explosive. Now, I've obviously watched Karan Adams. He's a pretty short receiver, 5'7", 175 pounds. But he is a burner. He is fast. He is going to run past everybody. He's going to get on the top of your defense, and he's going to make plays. I mean, gosh, I don't know where he's going to end up at. He's probably going to end up at a G5 school. If I had to guess, I could see him at a G5 school, but you never know. You never know where these guys are going to end up, but obviously an athletic player, obviously somebody who can make things happen. He also has a 70-yard touchdown run on his record against Tarleton in the playoffs. I remember that it was on a reverse. Really good play. Karan Adams, an explosive player, but that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about how this South Dakota team has just gotten completely gutted, and it's just another example of the transfer portal just ruining FCS teams left and right. I mean, I have no idea what's going on out here. Actually, I do. It's a transfer portal. There's money involved, all that good stuff. But damn, like, you would think like a team like this where they return a lot of their starters, their starting quarterback came back. Obviously, they lost their head coach, but for the most part, their team was coming back. Outside of seniors leaving, they seem to be turning. Charles Pierre, I believe, is coming back. I don't know if he transferred or not. Somebody let me know, but I believe a lot of their team was coming back. And now to see 3 starting O-linemen and their best wide receiver, returning wide receiver entering the portal, that is brutal. I mean, South Dakota, they went from being my favorite in the MVFC to maybe not even. I mean, maybe they can finish top 5. I mean, I don't know. It's hard when you lose 3 linemen. I mean, offensive line play at the FCS level, it's big at every level of football. You saw that at the NFL level. The best team in the league had the best offensive line in the league, had the best running game in the league. I mean, it makes such a big difference when you can run the ball very well. North Dakota State does that. Montana State does that. South Dakota State does that. South Dakota did that well last year too as well. But we will see if they're able to do it the same with these offensive line. We'll see how they hit this spring transfer portal window. That is a team who I would think needs to hit the spring transfer portal pretty hard, especially on linemen, maybe bringing in another receiver. Your rival at South Dakota State just brought in a transfer receiver from, gosh, I think was it a Wisconsin transfer? I can't remember. South Dakota State just got a receiver transfer from somewhere. Sam Herder posted about it. I can't remember where he's coming from, but good addition for that squad. You guys let me know what you think about that. South Dakota losing 3 starters. You guys let me know what you guys think about that down below, and I will move on. Okay, there have been changes made, to the injury timeouts in football. Changes to injury timeouts has been approved in football. So, the NCAA Playing Rules Oversight Panel on Wednesday approved modifications to the injury timeout rules in football, beginning with the 2025-2026 season. Under the new rule, if medical personnel enter the field to evaluate an injured player after the ball is spotted by the officiating crew for the next play, that player's team will be charged a timeout. So, after the ball is spotted, if medical personnel enter the field to evaluate an injured player after the ball is spotted by the officiating crew for the next play, that player's team will be charged a timeout. So you better get out there before the ball is spotted, or else you're going to be charged a timeout. I think that's the rule. I think that's what I'm reading. If the team does not have any timeouts remaining, a 5-yard delay of game penalty will be assessed. So obviously, I don't know if this is a blanket rule that's going in for the rest of time, but a lot of times I feel like when they put in rules like this, you see what it does for a year. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, take it out. But this is something that definitely needs to happen. There's a lot of times, we called it snorkel when I was in college, where the players somebody's gonna fake an injury, and that's gonna give your defense time to catch up. That's gonna give the medical personnel to come on the field and gosh, what is the word I'm trying to use? And service that player, or whatever you want to call it. Give attention to that player, and that will give the defense time to catch their breath, especially on those teams like Eastern Washington that are running that hurry up. Who else runs hurry up? There's not a lot of Big Sky teams. Idaho's going super slow. Eastern Washington, I think UC Davis at times can get some tempo. So against teams like that like to run a tempo offense, that like to go fast at times, a fake injury can really, really help your defense. So I'm not oblivious to that game planning and that strategic play right there from coaches and defensive coordinators. Fake an injury, that's going to give us fair time to be able to service our player. And previously, it was within the rule books. Now, a lot of coaches and administrators and refs didn't think it was very savory. They didn't think highly of the move, but based on what the rules said, it was a legal play. Now, it still technically is a legal play if you do it in the right amount of time. So let me reread that because it's worded a little weird. Under the new rule, if medical personnel enter the field to evaluate an injured player after the ball is spotted by the officiating crew for the next play, that player's team will be charged a timeout. So based on what I'm reading, all you got to do is get out there or go down before the ball is spotted. So it's really on the medical personnel. They have to enter the field to evaluate an injured player before the ball is spotted so that they're not charged a timeout or they're not charged a penalty. Also, this kind of, I don't want to be that guy, but I'm also guessing that, like, if you're truly injured, and this is the biggest point of this rule, which you got to kind of read in between the lines to see this, but if you're truly injured, you're going to be down before the ball is spotted. And the medical personnel should be out there. But also, this is now the coach has to go to the medical personnel. Hey, if we see somebody go down, you go out immediately. And I know a lot of times the medical personnel are fast, but this kind of puts, like, you guys got to get out there before they spot the ball, because if you don't get out there before they spot the ball, we are going to get charged a timeout. So now this puts a little undue stress on the medical personnel, because what they really need to be doing is focused on their thoughts as it pertains to that player, not focused on their thoughts as it pertains to getting out there before the injury. But I think that's minute in this situation. But you know, this changes things a little bit. But I think the biggest point they're trying to make is, if you're really injured, if you really need attention, you are already going to be down before the ball is spotted. You're going to be down when the injury happens during the course of the play. What happens a lot of times is not everybody always hears the call. Not everybody always hears the snorkel or whatever they say at their school. They don't always hear the call. So what happens is, the team's already in the huddle. They're already bringing the play out. The player's already giving the play to the players, and then a player just falls out. Penalty. Can't have it. Cannot have it. Players aren't just going to be falling down out of nowhere, faking like they need a cramp so that the medical personnel can come out. And then, no, that is what they're penalizing. They're not penalizing the true injury. So if you're down before the play is over, or if you're down before the play is over and the medical personnel is already waiting for the play to end to get out there, and they immediately run out there to come tend to you, I mean, that is fair play. But when you see these players, and that's the thing about these rules oversight committee, is like, they're trying to think of every contingency, because obviously there's rules that never state that faking an injury is not okay. So if it's not stated explicitly in the rule book not to do it, then people are going to do it. And you can't just go out and say in the rule book that injuries are not allowed, because what do you mean injuries are not allowed? Players are going to get hurt. So you had to shape the rule in a way to where it would make sense for, no, you can still get injuries. We're not penalizing injuries. We're just penalizing fake injuries. So And also, I could still see some gray area with this, because there are times when players get hurt. They think they're gonna play through the next play, and I think this also heightens, because in camp, I know when I played in the USFL, the coaches always said, if you're injured, go down. We're not going to get penalized for you getting injured at all. Now, this really puts a premium on that. If you are injured and if you think you can't go for the next play, you need to get down immediately. Don't try to tough it out for the next play, because if you try to tough it out for the next play and then you go down after the ball is spotted, we are going to get penalized. We're going to cost a timeout, or we're going to get a 5-yard penalty. So you need to really make sure, if you're injured, go down, please. Go down, please. And do not wait. If you're injured, and if you're injured and you're down, stay down. Stay down, because right there you're good. If you go down during the play and you're injured, just stay there, because we're not going to get penalized. Our medical staff can come out and tend to you. They can take you off the field. It's fair play. But it's when coaches watch these guys just stand there, they're running off the field because they're getting subbed out, and then the coach tells them to go down, they just go down. It's like, wait, but he was just running off the field fine. What happened in the 2 seconds that he was running off the field to him going down? I mean, that's what they're trying to get away from. So I like that. Coach-to-player communication, similar to technology implemented for the Football Bowl Subdivision FBS last year, will be a permissive option for teams that compete in the Football Championship Subdivision. So, coach-to-player communication was introduced into the FBS level last year, and I think it went well. We didn't hear any hiccups. Obviously, sometimes with that technology, the coaches can't always hear, the players can't always hear the coaches. Sometimes that things happens at the professional level, and I'm sure it happens at college level. But that is now permitted at the FCS level, which I don't know how many schools can afford this. You know, I think it'd be useful to use, but also at the FCS level, you got to consider, if we are using it and the other team can't use it, we can't use it. So I think this needs to be a rule where either the FCS needs to make it a blanket to where the FCS is going to pay, the NCAA is going to pay for it for the FCS. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they can pay for it for everybody. So I think it's just a situation where if you're going to do it as an FCS school, you do it, but you do it knowing that if there's a school that you run into that doesn't have it, you are not going to be able to use it for that game because of fairness. You know, I think that's the rule, because I think last year when North Dakota State played Colorado, I think they either had the communication or Colorado did not use the communication, but I think they found a way to have North Dakota State to be able to use the communication, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know exactly how that works, because I don't know if every FBS school is even doing it. But this is exciting news for the FCS. I would love to see an FCS school do it. Obviously, that helps out the quarterback, that helps out everybody involved, but also that's a different, sometimes people are working off cards. A lot of times, play calls are different hearing them than seeing them. So there's a whole another round of logistics that have to go in with that. But I think that's exciting. I think that's exciting for the FCS level. But I like the injury rule. Obviously, I understand the game planning and I understand the gamemanship behind it, doing the fake injury. But I think that's an exciting rule. I'm going to love to see how it plays out, because obviously people are going to get penalized for it. The refs are going to be keen to looking at it. A new rule in the rule book. The refs are always going to be keen to paying attention to it and finding out. Just like last year, they started the season and they were penalizing guys, linemen. This is in the NFL. They were penalizing linemen for not being in line with the center, not being on the center's hip, in that lineman, going too far back, particularly Juwan Johnson at the Kansas City Chiefs, also Ronnie Stanley at the Ravens. Those are a couple of guys who got penalized quite a bit for it. And, they made it a point to penalize him early on in the season. Didn't really see too much of it later on in the season. Still saw it, but it was something that they cooled down on. But you guys let me know what you think about some of these rule changes coming in college football, and I will move on. Okay, I want to continue my discussion about the House Settlement NIL changes at the college football level, and I want to talk about a article by Casey Smurthwaite of Hero Sports. I guess he does a lot of work with college administrators, college ADs, budgets. He's like a finance guy at the college sports level. He helps college sports athletic directors and administrations deal with their budget constraints and things of that nature. But he wrote an article talking about the number games of the House Settlement. I thought it was an amazing article. I'm not going to read the entire article, but I'm going to read some quotes out of the article. First, a collegiate athletics department is not the institution, and the institution is not the athletics department. In fact, your alma mater could cut sports tomorrow and continue operating without a hitch. Basically, he's trying to set the stage. This was early on in the article. He's trying to set the stage. Athletics is an extension of the university. The university is not an extension of athletics, and the university does not have to operate in the best interest of athletics. It makes the most sense for a lot of schools to operate in the best interest of their athletics, because the athletics are bringing in a lot of revenue to their university and things of that nature. They're bringing a lot of attendance to the university, all that good stuff. But they don't necessarily have to operate in the best interest of the athletics department. Find a Division I or Division II institution whose mission statement explicitly mentions success or competition in college athletics. You'll likely find references to physical education or recreation, but rarely to athletics. In essence, athletics departments are multi-million-dollar subsidiaries operating largely outside the stated mission of most institutions. Basically trying to also, once again, set the stage. Athletics is an extension of the university, not the other way around. A lot of times these athletics departments are subsidiaries operating outside of what the original mission, because let's be real, what is the mission of a college university? To get higher education, to get a master's, a bachelor's, to get a doctorate, to get an education to further your professional career. The university system was never supposed to be seen originally, I think in its original thought process, was never supposed to be seen as a athletics arm to get guys to the professional level. I think that's just what it turned into over time. But a university was meant to be a place where guys and gals go to get a higher education, to further their professional lives, their educational lives further. So to become a doctor, to become a lawyer, to become I don't even know, you don't need to do it to become a trade, but to become a psychologist, to become, I don't know, higher education, that's what it was meant for. He's setting the stage. Under the settlement, scholarship limits would be replaced by formal roster caps. Schools could offer scholarships to every athlete on the roster, but they aren't required to. At first glance, this sounds like a positive change, more scholarships for players. But in reality, the cap likely spells the end of walk-on era. So this is something that has been talked about quite a bit throughout this House settlement, throughout some of the things that have been going on in this House settlement. A lot of people, yes, the roster cap is good. The roster number for football, the roster cap is going to be 105. You can have 105 players. If you want all 105 to be on scholarship, you can have all 105 be on scholarship. But what he talked about in the article as to why that's a problem is because a lot of times in the past, you could have walk-ons, and I think a lot of times he talked about how presidents wanted walk-ons at universities because they're going to pay full tuition. They're going to pay room and board. They're going to pay for books. They're going to be bringing in revenue to the school, so it makes sense to have walk-ons. Now, if you de-incentivize walk-ons from bringing in walk-ons and you're having to pay all the players on your 105 roster, that goes from them being a revenue generator to now them being an expense on the budget. These players all went from, we had say 30 to 40 walk-ons on our team. That's 30 to 40 players who are paying full, if not half, if not full tuition. Some 25%, some 50%, some 75%, depending on what type of scholarship they were able to get. We have guys who are paying money and adding to our budget. You take that budget line item away, where is that revenue coming from? Now, not only are we expected to pay the House settlement, pay back damages, we're also expected to pay the athletes that we have on campus. What does that look like? Also, we don't have anybody bringing in money from a walk-on perspective. So, the scholarship cap is something that adds a problem for these institutions. Some estimates suggest that 9,000 to 10,000 roster spots could be eliminated across the NCAA. That is a enormous amount of roster spots being eliminated. I mean, you got to think about the amount of opportunities that are being lost from some of these athletes. I mean, a lot of these athletes, like he mentioned in his article, I didn't put it in here, but the Rudy at Notre Dame would have never happened. Baker Mayfield would have never happened. There's a guy from Arkansas who's like the walk-on, is it Burlsworth that the walk-on award is named after? Would have never happened. I mean, there are so many great walk-ons. For the Montana example, Jerry Louis McGee was a walk-on. Would we have seen him? I mean, it changes the question for so many, because like I was on a full ride scholarship. I came on full ride scholarship out of high school, but would there have been a scholarship for somebody like me had this been a rule back in the day? I don't know. As hinted at earlier, it's expensive. Adding a $20 million revenue sharing bill to an athletic department's budget is no small matter. Schools don't have to contribute the full amount, but even at a modest $2.5 million payout has to come from somewhere. Combine that with the loss of walk-ons and you're facing a double whammy. That's the biggest point of it all, is not only are they having to add a revenue line item, but they're also having to detract a revenue line item from walk-ons. That's a double whammy. We have to pay now more, but we're bringing in less now. Where is that revenue generated? And fans, trust me, I work in fundraising. The fans are eventually going to get exhausted. Donor exhaustion is a real thing. Constantly asking these people to donate to the university, hitting on the fans, hitting on the donors. I mean, it's going to get exhausted eventually. That's why I think the collectives do hold some type of value, because they have those subscription models. But also with the subscription model, what are you providing to the fans? What exclusive value are you providing to the fans that they wouldn't get anywhere else? That is where I think the collectives miss at, is because a lot of times, especially in a market like Missoula, Skyline Sports, SWX, MTM Sports, they do such a great job of covering the team anywhere. There's not much exclusive access that good old Grizzlies can provide for you that you're not going to get outside of them. So, I mean, it's tough. It's a tough model. It's a tough place for these universities to be in. I think it does shed light on the fact that these collectives can kind of help the universities. They can find a lane to be able to fit in with each other. But I don't know. There's a lot to be considered here. But you guys let me know what you think about the House settlement. What do you guys think about the hitch that is being seen, these roster limits? What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will move on. Okay, I wanted to talk about, let me bring this up real quick. Hope you guys can still see me. Okay, I wanted to talk about Coach Tremaine Jackson at Prairie View A&M. He posted a few things to understand when Prairie View A&M recruits you in the portal cycle. WTW Tremaine Jackson, at Coach Jack 212. On Twitter or X, whatever you call it. So he has 5 things for Panther portal recruits to understand when you're in the portal being recruited by him. When you follow, there is a 4-hour window to follow back or we done. When I follow you. Now, I don't want to necessarily agree with this because, say, for example, coach, I'm on vacation. I'm in a remote area. I'm at a hot springs in Montana, and you follow me. I'm out of service for the next 12 hours. You expect me to hit you back in the first 4 hours that you follow me? Like, I don't agree with that, coach. Now, I get if you want to be recruited, you got to be able to be willing to do what it takes to get recruited. But I don't agree with this window. I don't agree with this 4-hour window. I don't think that's the right way to do it. I think if because so many things can happen. There's so many things that can happen. Am I supposed to be on my phone, especially in a generation where you guys complain about how much kids are on their phone? So now you expect me to be watching my phone every hour. You follow me, I gotta follow back within 4 hours, or I'm just not getting recruited. I don't know if I agree with that, coach. Number 2, send your number, transcripts, and highlight in the first message. I have no problem with that. You trying to get recruited? Why are we playing around? I followed you. That clearly means I'm interested in you. So send me your number, transcripts, and highlight because that's everything I'm going to need to know if we need to recruit you or not. What does your highlight look like? What do you look like on the field? What are your transcripts? Are you eligible to even get into this school? And what is your number? How do I talk to you? We're not going to be talking over DMs. I need to be able to call you and talk to you on the phone. Here are you speak. Here are you articulate yourself. Give me your number. Give me your transcripts. Give me your highlight. I have no problem with that. Make sure you address my staff as coach and not bro and by first or last name. I respect. You're going to respect your coach. Now, does that mean I can't call him coach for last name, or if they prefer to be called coach first name? But coach, I get that and I respect that. I respect that, coach. Don't call him bro. Don't call him first or last name. I'm all with that. Number 4, don't ask me for NIL, which we do have, when PFF has you taking less than 200 snaps on the year. You should have gotten your money from them. Now it's time to play. Hey, I have no problem with that. Hey, what did you do at your last school? When the analytics and the data is showing that you haven't done anything at your previous spot and now you're coming to us asking us for NIL? No, now it's time for you to get on the field and prove that you are a worthy player. Now's not the time to go gamble for your NIL, get hold out for your NIL. No, you should have done that at the last place. I have no problems with that, coach. Number 5, pray, talk to your family, talk to your girlfriend, talk to your dog, and any other people before we offer you. Not after you take 80 visits. I'm going to want to know ASAP. And other people after you, not after you take. So I get this. When I offer you, let me know within the next day or 2 whether you're coming to our school. Don't then take an offer from us and then go wave it around to every other school and take 50 visits with a bunch of schools and allow us to be the stepping stool for you to get another. Now, I don't know. Stepping stool, I don't know if people are using it as a stepping stool, but I get what he's saying. Don't leave me hanging. If I offered you a scholarship, I obviously want you, and we want you now. But that can change very fast because if you take your time, we are going to then go shop around and try to find somebody better. And if we find somebody better that commits faster than you, your scholarship's gone. So I get what he's saying. Talk to your family. Pray and talk to the people that matter and come back to me. Don't pray and talk to the people that matter and then go talk to 50 other schools and then leave me hanging. I want to know ASAP. I get that. We look forward to speaking with you soon. Go Panthers. Now, the reason I put this on here is because I saw a few people up in arms about some of the requirements that he was asking for, but I don't necessarily disagree with most of this. I disagree with the 4-hour window. The 4-hour window is crazy in my opinion. I would say more so like a 48-hour window or a 24, 36-hour window. Now, that is a fair time where it's like, if he follows me back within a day, I know he's interested. Now, a 4-hour window, coach, it's like some people are doing things for a whole 4 hours where they're not on their phones. If you follow them within that 4 hours where they're not on their phone, like, you're just saying like, damn, and I saw a joke. Somebody joking on Twitter was like, dang, when you missed, it was like a meme, and it was like, when you missed the 4-hour window to be recruited by Prairie View A&M, and I had a laugh about that, gotta admit. But I do disagree with the 4-hour window. The 4-hour window is not the right way to do it. Every other way, respect, call me coach. I agree with that. Send me your number, transcripts, and highlight. What are we doing? If I follow you, you follow me. What are we doing? DM me the information. You know, I see kids sending their highlight underneath coach's post, underneath my post sometimes, all the time. Like, that is not the way to get recruited. The way to get recruited is to DM a coach directly. Make sure you guys have a line of communication established first, and then send. But he wants it in the first message. He's letting you know, I want the first message to be your number, your transcripts, and your highlight. Make sure that's the first thing I see. I don't have any problem with this. I don't have any problem with this. Don't come with us asking for NIL when at your last spot you didn't play barely any of the snaps and you weren't super successful. So it shows that you don't have a track record of being good. Why should we pay you any money? That we do indeed have NIL money, but why should we pay it to any of it to you when you haven't proven yourself? Don't come to me asking for money when you're coming from a spot. And I think he's meaning like the FBS drop down, some of the higher FCS drop downs that feel like they have a level of cachet already. I'm coming to you, Prairie View A&M, you're a less than school. Give me some money. Why would I give you any money when PFF says right here that you played 130 snaps last year and you weren't successful in those 130 snaps? Why are you asking us for money? I get what your resume may say you are, but the analytics and the data says you're not what you think you are. So you need to pump the brakes a little bit. And I also agree with this. I agree with everything. The 4-hour window is crazy. What do you guys think about Coach Tremaine Jackson's requirements to be recruited by Prairie View A&M? Do you guys think it's fair? I think it's mostly fair. I get some of that outrage, but really the 4-hour window is a little ludicrous, Coach. I think that's a little crazy. I would get even an 8-hour or 12-hour window. 12-hour window, I follow you at 10 in the morning. You haven't followed me back by 10 p.m. Then, because to say you haven't been on your phone, you haven't checked your social media in 12 hours, I think that's fair. 4 hours, Coach, is a little crazy. To be expected to have somebody hit you back in 4 hours is a little crazy, Coach. But you guys let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below, and I will move on. Okay, that is going to conclude my Akem'S analysis for this week. I want to thank you guys for tapping into the channel. I want to thank you guys for giving me a view. I think I got slight hiccups today, but I want to thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys hit the like, hit the subscribe. Make sure you guys hit the comment button down below, or leave a comment down below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. 80% of you guys who are watching my channel right now are not subscribed. I will keep saying it. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. Make sure you guys show me some love. Leave me a comment down below. I will catch you guys next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you later.